So, folks, the Honourable Minister of Finance, Dr. Nigel Clarke, announced to Parliament last week that there will be a temporary reduction in the regular fares of the JUTC. Joining us now via Zoom is opposition spokesman on transport, Mikhail Phillips. Morning, Mr. Phillips. How are you, sir?
Morning. Morning to you both. Morning to your viewers.
Yeah, man. Great to have you. This morning when we mentioned this, the word controversial was in it. I don't think you said that, and I didn't say it either. But when I read that, I said, why would it be controversial? Because everybody's supposed to love when you drop fears on anything, or if you drop money for anything, everybody should love that. Is it a controversy here, or do you have a different take on things?
Well, any reduction in fares to the consumer, the traveling public, is one that would be welcome, and we welcome a reduction in fare. The opposition feels that there are different ways that the government could have approached the reduction to the traveling public. Myself and the leader of the opposition made suggestions quite a number of years now to the government, and how it is that we feel that there a reduction to not only the traveling public, but also to the operators within the industry, looking at the different fees that are charged to the operators. I mean, I remember about a year or so ago where operators were asked to put in tracking system in their vehicles, which was at their expense. That was an additional cost. We asked the question, what would the outcome of this be? Now we see that it has no effect, but additional cost to the operators. We spoke about the SCT on fuel, where the budget itself is predicated on $58 per barrel, which is over $80 per barrel now. We said cap it for at least 2 to 3 years, or cap it for that financial year at $58 per barrel, which is what we expect the government inflow to be at, reducing it not only to the operators, but all Jamaicans who would use fuel in their vehicle. And that in itself would reduce inflation. We said we also proposed that the tax that was taken at the pump for hedging, that should be removed. That will also reduce the cost of fuel. And they're just to find creative ways in reducing it. We believe that reducing the JUTC fare at this point in time, when the JUTC is seeing an $11.5 billion loss, and also with what is proposed by the minister about a $12 to $13 billion subvention to the JUTC, is one that was not thought out, and what needs to be looked at is a comprehensive transport plan before making moves like this.
So right move, wrong time, right move, wrong vehicle, pardon the pun.
We think that there could have been more creative ways in reducing the cost to the consumer, than to reduce the cost, the fares at the JUTC. Because when you look at, Simone, when you look at the JUTC right now, or what is needed in the KMTR, which includes Portmore and Spanish Town and the Kingston region, you need about 500 to 600,000 seats on a daily basis. The JUTC is only providing about 100,000 of those seats on a daily basis. So the majority of the consumers, the traveling public, will not benefit from it. As I started out by saying, any reduction is a welcome one. But this for me is just really about an announcement by the minister that really will not benefit the consumers. But also, if you're going to be reducing fares, then not only those in the KMTR should benefit, but all traveling public. In rural Jamaica, if you look at the nominal amount that school child that is not subsidized, or elderly that is not subsidized like in the KMTR, they themselves are also wondering, what about their reduction? And they're not seeing that reduction that was announced by the minister.
Yeah, Mr. Phillips, you mentioned, and I'm reading here, that they lost $11.4 billion with a B. Why can't the JUTC make money?
The JUTC can make money, but it depends on the policy of the government of the day. And the policy of this government has really brought the JUTC to its knees.
Sorry, sir, not to jump in, but did they not lose money under your administration also?
The JUTC is not expected to make a profit. I don't think any public transport across the globe makes a profit. What it is expected to do is at least take care of the majority of its daily expenses. Under the PNP administration, the JUTC was taking care at least of up to 70% of its operational expenses. Now it has to be subsidized. And for
who was taking care of the other 30?
Sorry?
Who was taking care of the other 30%?
The taxpayers of the country.
Gotcha. Okay.
Right?
Okay.
So it was subsidized in the region of about $4 billion then under the PNP administration. But there was a plan to bring in buses, because if you don't have the seats, you won't bring in the fare boxes. It was a policy of this government not to add any new buses until this financial year. And 50 new buses still has not brought the JUTC any additional seats, because the JUTC is rolling out under 200 buses on any morning. And the JUTC needs about 450 buses on a daily basis to provide the amount of seats that is needed.
You mentioned, I'm sorry to jump in. You mentioned that the reduction does not help in the majority of the folks who are using the service. Does it hurt the JUTC? I know PPV operators are complaining that it will hurt them, but does it hurt the company, this reduction?
It will hurt the JUTC, hence why the Minister of Finance is saying that they will provide an additional $1 billion in subsidy to the JUTC. The JUTC is already bringing in less than 25% of the fare box that it needs. So any reduction in fares is going to hurt the JUTC. So in essence, the Minister of Finance will be giving a subsidy to the JUTC for the loss in revenue. And the loss in revenue is taken care of by all taxpayers across the country.
So then it does squeeze out then, Sir Mikhail? If it's going to hurt them, but he's giving them the subsidy, does it level it off?
No, because you have to find that subsidy from somewhere.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah? So let's use the instance. In my own constituency, we need a new school. They said that the school would cost over $1 billion. That $1 billion in subsidy that is now being given to the JUTC for the reduction in fares could go and repair or build a new school somewhere, or could go and fight crime. Somewhere in the country.
You've already said that the JUTC can't make money, and I accept that. But $11 billion is plenty of money to lose every year. I mean, it can't be that much every year, can it?
Well, never let us look at it this way. If you're making a loss of close to $12 billion with a $11.5 billion in loss, so you're talking about $13.5 billion that the taxpayers have to find. $23 billion that the taxpayers really have to subsidize the JUTC, because that loss in itself, that has to be made up somewhere. And if you look at what the JUTC is earning, is less than $2 billion a year in fare box. So this is a cost to the taxpayers, and that's why we have said, before the increase to the operators, the bus fare increase was given, that there should have been a comprehensive transport plan. Then you put that in place, have it working, then you now increase the fares. And I accept that the operators themselves needed to see some increase in fares to mitigate their cost of operation. But you have to come with a national plan. You can't be just trying to pick from the left or the right to try and make something work. And then when you bring them together, it is an unworkable policy that the government has put in place.
Well, I pray that everything works out for the consumer. Thank you so much, sir, for speaking with us this morning. God bless you and your family.
Thank you, and have a blessed week to the both of you.
Thank you. Same to you, sir. Opposition spokesman on transport, Michael Phillips. Coming up next, we're talking gun safety protocols. We have that on the other side of this break. Soon come.